security matters.
Chris Kofinas is a Democratic strategist, and Alex Conant is a Republican strategist. Welcome to both of you. Chris, you want to respond to Speaker Newt Gingrich saying that she essentially has lied on national television about national security?
Well, I mean, I think it's just it's a ridiculous statement. I mean, this is the mother of all political distractions. The reality is, if you listen to what the facts are, Speaker Pelosi was briefed in September of 2002, and she was told about various techniques, but was not told that waterboarding was being used. Then Jane Harman was briefed in 2003, early 2003, told about waterboarding, and then a protest letter is sent. CIA responds to that protest letter and says, basically, we've determined that these legal techniques, these torture techniques, are legal. You have an administration that basically has sanctioned torture, redefined the law to sanction torture, and implemented, and now is blaming others for why they implemented it. It's comical.
And this is Nancy Pelosi's version of events, but other people that were in the room during these initial briefings say that they were informed that these interrogation techniques were being used, and she's since said that the CIA has been lying to her.
Question: who had the responsibility? Who had the executive authority to implement these techniques? Who was doing it? It was the Bush administration.
Of course, but see,
so the Bush administration is responsible for this.
But the whole point is that Congress knew about it. Nancy Pelosi knew about it, and then
sent a letter of protest. And what did the CIA say in return? We've determined that these are legal. Now, the notion that somehow the Bush administration is going to dance around their responsibility is comical. They are responsible for this.
But there is a question here, Chris, and that is the role of Congress and oversight.
Exactly.
And they are briefed for a reason, because Congress demands information because they approve the budgets while they are secret and what the CIA gets, so they have the information. The CIA and Leon Panetta, a former Democrat, a former member of the House from California with Nancy Pelosi, says today, let me be clear, it is not our policy or practice to mislead Congress, that in fact CIA officers briefed truthfully on the interrogation of Abu Zubaydah in 2002.
Yeah, but Nora,
he said, she
but listen,
said.
Nora, Congress can only do effective oversight if they're told all the facts. If in September 2002, when these techniques are first, in that first briefing that Nancy Pelosi had, they had already used waterboarding. They did not inform Speaker Pelosi that waterboarding was used. And now you learn this new revelation where they were waterboarding Khalid Sheikh Mohammed in order to not to find, for example, a ticking time bomb, but to find a fake connection between Iraq and al-Qaeda to justify the invasion. That tells you the real political agenda here.
Well, what about, Alex, let me then question you on what Rush Limbaugh is saying today. He says, come on now, we've had 2 men resign as Speaker, so if women really want equal treatment, if they really want to crash through that glass ceiling, there's no better benchmark than Nancy Pelosi taking herself out. Those 2 former men who resigned as Speaker of the House resigned because they were having affairs.
Right.
Is this really relevant? And is Rush Limbaugh now the spokesman of your party? And do you want him saying stuff like that when you're already having problems with getting women voters in the Republican Party?
Look, it's not up to Rush Limbaugh. It's not up to any Republicans. It's not up to Newt Gingrich whether or not Nancy Pelosi is going to remain Speaker. It's up to congressional Democrats whether or not they think she has a credibility problem. When she calls the CIA a bunch of liars and the CIA director points back and says she's lying, that's an issue.
All right, Alex Conant and Chris Kofinas, great to have both of you. Happy Friday.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And I'm Nora O'Donnell in Washington.